Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of Kenshi, Birth of a Hive. Quick recap of the rules and goals. Only recruit hivers. Limit the amount of combat characters I have in the combat squad. No weapon or crossbow crafting, but I might relax that last rule. And the goals are to kill the slavers, acquire animals, and destroy the other hives. So I'm starting here with little Queen. She has purchased a little replacement arm for herself, and what I'm going to have her do is start to run sort of the long way into Mongrel. Anyone that is a veteran of this game will know why I'm headed to Mongrel. I'm listening to all of your input and suggestions. But before I do that, I wanted to go over some tips. So the first thing I'm going to do is to cook myself up. What am I doing? Cook myself up some more food from the campfire and work on some strength training. So if I want some more food, the best way to do it is to cook what I've already got. And for strength training, I'm going to go ahead and look at some heavy stuff that I can loot off these bodies. They just got wiped out from the guardsmen. Some of these bone dogs already been picked over. And trying to pick up the heaviest stuff like weapons and armor, or a staff for that matter. And then after I'm done picking them over, what I could do is pick one of their bodies up and haul the body like this. And that encumbers me, which allows me to train my strength pretty effectively. So I wanted to say a big thank you to Camel Spider. He's the one that made the mod to reskin the Deadhive Queen into the proper colors, meaning that I am fog colored. He didn't have to, but he additionally modified his mod so that I have a hunger bar. So as you see here, I actually have the hunger bar that I should have had at episode 1. So big thank you to him. The somewhat unintended consequence of having a hunger bar is that I'm not going to be able to do the skeleton repair kit anymore. I am now organic. I think the Holy Nation will see me as a skeleton still, because my subspecies is technically still skeleton, but I got to be careful about having wounds and the like. What is going on over here? Who's fighting who? We've got United States. Okay, I don't even need to get involved in that, so I won't. Let's see. I am up in the UC cities. I want to probably head south to stay clear of the Holy Nation. Now, if you're new to Kenshi and you don't really know what's going on, I'll give you a quick little primer while I'm in transit. The things I have to look out for while in transit are like skimmers and things like that that could jump me. So the lore of Kenshi is, this is basically your continent, right? You have the Great Desert up here, which is the United Cities. They're sort of a feudal, militaristic. They all look like, well, not all of them, but many of them look like samurai. They enslave others. They have nobles. They're sort of, yeah, I would say that's the long and short of their civilization. They're not necessarily xenophobic, so I can trade with them. They're not going to be immediately unfriendly, but they are slavers after all, and some of their slaves are hivers, so I'm not so fond of people that slave hivers. I also wanted to, before I go into more lore, I wanted to say that I had some other tips. So one of the tips was Mr. Chiweenie mentioned I should get the guaranteed slave recruit. So the last time I freed a slave, that slave decided to just say, oh, I'm going to go see my family. Bye. So in Vanilla Kenshi, not every slave that you free, not every slave that you purchase is going to join you. Sometimes when you happen upon proper slaves out in the wild and you unlock their cages, sometimes they follow you, sometimes they're recruited. Here, I installed the mod which guarantees slave recruiting. Any slave that I get that is not a hiver, I'm going to release or disband. But I will keep my hive slavers. That was a suggestion by Course of the Dark, mentioning that it would be very cool to have a mass enslaved gang. Basically, people that have been freed from slavery and then conscripted into my hive. And that's definitely something I want to incorporate. Another mod I installed, John suggested, which is the Transparency UI mod that can collaborate with the DarkUI mod. So as you can see, my UI here is partially transparent. So if I open, I guess map is a really bad example, but if I open the inventory here, you can see through it, which is pretty neat. I did have some other tips from you all. So another one is I want to address theft. Theft is a mechanic in this game that basically breaks the game. Anyone that has played enough Kenshi will tell you stealing is way too easy and way too... Whoa. I gotta stop my spiel real quick because I've got skimmers on my bum. I'm not moving... Ooh, that skimmer is particularly slow because he's probably a baby skimmer or something. But, no more strength training for me. Now, the problem is, right now, I'm headed to the arm of Akron, and there's sort of a military checkpoint that I'm going to be forced through, so I have to dip a little bit further south into the Iron Valley to get around that checkpoint. So as I was saying, yeah, theft. I might steal a little bit here and there, you know, inconsequential levels of theft, but I'm not planning on stealing my way through this series because the game allows you to steal basically everything that's not nailed down, and you can get really rich really fast, which is not particularly good. It sort of ruins the immersion, if you ask me. So now I'm in the Iron Valleys, and the enemies are going to quickly change. They've changed over from skimmers to iron spiders, and I have to sort of be careful. I'm not in a zone that's particularly friendly. A lot of the times when you start a new game, you'll spawn in safer zones. Where I started, as you can see here, with this iron spider trying to mash me to bits, this thing could kill me in like a shot or two. If it catches me, I'm basically dead. Kenshi is a game, I would say the biggest feature of Kenshi is that Kenshi does not care that you are a player character. You die just as easy as anyone else. There's nothing special about your character. You're not stronger, you're not immortal, you're not special really in any way whatsoever. Almost every character that you start, you'll have low stats, and you'll be basically pathetic, for lack of a better term. And that's the beauty of Kenshi. You do suck at the start, and you can't just fight everyone that you see. And almost any of these like robots and skimmers, a lot of the natural wildlife of the game can absolutely mince you and mash you up and spit you out, and you'll be dead. And if I'm in a dead is dead playthrough like I am, one mistake here can cost me my life. So for instance, I quickly just checked how fast is this iron spider compared to me. I'm 2 miles an hour faster because I'm encumbered. But I have to be careful about things like that because one little slip up and the series potentially is over. I don't think I'm going to make these slip ups because I know how Kenshi can be really rough. But yeah, there it is. And then another thing I wanted to ask you all about is your input. So I do have no weapon crafting and crossbow crafting right now, but I think hivers would be able to craft some weapons. You don't normally see hivers with a whole lot of weapons, but they usually use like a polearm. So maybe only toothpick and polearm crafting or something like that. I don't know. What I'll do is I will ask for suggestions. If you want to change the rules or goals of this series in any way, I am taking input from that. And then what I will do is compile that all into one big list, put it out to a poll, and you all can vote on it. And vote how the goals and rules can change over time. So back to my little primer lore of Kenshi. So I did describe the UC cities. They're slavers, they're nobles, they're royalty. They look down on pretty much everyone else. And they don't so much get along with the Holy Nation. The Holy Nation are a bunch of religious fuzzy wuzzies. They believe that Akron here is their god, and they worship him, and they believe that basically Greenlanders, which is a type of normal human, if you will, is the true and only species that should exist. So they're a little racist towards, or a lot racist towards everyone else, but especially towards skeletons. They hate skeletons. They're very technophobic. They're somewhat misogynistic, meaning that they don't believe in so much equality with women. It's like Akron was a man. It's the, yeah, they're generally everyone's favorite villain to hate, but they are particularly strong. I would say the United Cities and the Holy Nation are the strongest factions in the game. Then a close second or third strongest would be the Shek. The Shek are very noble, generally honorable, hulking masses. They kind of look like, oh my god, what's his name? I'm gonna have to Google it real quick. They look like Garrus Vakarian from Mass Effect a little bit. They have that sort of look to them. Yeah, I digress. Yeah, they kind of look like Taurians. Their kingdom kind of broke apart, so I think sometime in the past, the Shek kingdom was a lot more powerful, but what ended up happening is their factions sort of disintegrated, and the net result of that is they are no longer as strong as they once were, but they're still pretty strong. You have some smaller factions, like the Western Hive. So the Western Hive is a friendly, mostly friendly trading faction that lives around Vane here. They're not so friendly to Hiveless. Hiveless are hivers that have been kicked out of the hive for whatever reason, or people that are just been exiled and excommunicated. So the Western Hive won't talk to Hiveless. They won't attack them, but they won't talk to Hiveless. You also have the Southern Hive, which is down here. They're very xenophobic and isolated. They have a queen. They're not so friendly, and that's probably enough said about them. And there's probably close to 100 other little factions in the game. So there's quite a lot to do. This is a Holy Nation caravan, so let's not talk to them. They won't be so friendly or kind. A lot of the other little factions are either small little bandit groups or independent factions, stuff like that. So I'm headed to a city called Mongrel, which is an independent city. It's in the middle of the Fog Islands. The Fog Islands, I think I explained last episode, but just to recap, is full of basically insane hivers that are bluish and cannibalistic. All the other hivers aren't cannibalistic, but the Fog are cannibalistic, and that means I have to be somewhat careful around them, as they will try to eat me if they catch me. Even though I am blue like them and technically a Deadhive Queen, they are crazy and they don't care. Now, there are ways to mod the game for me to be the rightful queen and for me to be able to recruit them and all, but I think having a giant army of zombies at my disposal would sort of imbalance the game, and I'm kind of looking for the challenge. So while I'm down here in the Fog Islands, I have to be really careful not to be jumped by fog. They run faster than I currently do. Ooh, actually, that was a fog heavy. So most of the fog that you see are going to be little worker drones, but they don't work. They're insane. All they do is they knock people out, tie them to posts, and get this dude to eat them. These are fog princes. There's a bounty on their head when you kill them, and they're surrounded by fog heavies, which are soldiers. So the soldiers have these sort of hammerhead kind of looking heads. The princes have these more circular heads. And then the fog drones have sort of pointy pencil eraser heads. They each come with their own stats. So heavies are tough. They have toughness and attack bonuses, but penalties to everything else. Princes are sort of, well, they're royal. So they're, how do I describe princes? They're sort of thieves and scientists and doctors. They're sort of the educated class of hivers. Just like the queen. Actually, this queen is basically a prince, but female. And then you have the drones, which are really good at laboring and farming, but not particularly good at anything else. I would say of all of the species and subspecies in the game that are playable by default game, a hiver drone is probably the weakest amongst them. And then on top of having really bad combat stats, hivers also have particularly weak limbs. So if you look down here, I've got a certain amount of hit points for all of my limb slots. When you go to the negative version of your limbs, so I have, like, let's take a look at my right arm. If I had my right arm hit 0, or a little even above 0, but let's call it 0, it would be crippled. If it goes to negative 75, which is the max amount of hit points but negative, I lose it. It's lopped off. So hivers have 75 hit points to their limbs. Humans here have, see, this human has 125. Shek have like 200. Hivers have particularly easy limbs to lose, is I guess what I'm trying to say. Which makes them not a very tough race. So they're very bad at combat by default. So I'm here at Mongrel. Mongrel's a little isolated independent city in the middle of the Fog Islands. Why it even exists, I have no idea. And I'm here to talk to Beep. Beep is the underdog of underdogs. He is a outcast hive work drone thrown out of his hive because he was defective. So I say, hi, Beep, and he asks, how do I know my name? And he said, you just said Beep for no reason, so I thought maybe you were introducing yourself. Am I some kind of genius then? Yes, I am. Can I join you? I want to become strong, become a swordsman. You don't look very strong. Do you have a weapon? Do you have any skills? He says, I have nothing. They exiled me from the hive. Just because you kept saying Beep, I am defective, not good for the hive. But Beep doesn't give up. Beep is strong. Since I left a hive, I can feel my mind changing, the way I think. I feel free, having thoughts I've never had before. I want freedom, but everywhere I go, things try to kill me or chase me. Beep is tired of running. Time to stab things that chase me. Yeah, you can see why people love Beep. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I ask if he wants any money to join me, and he's like, money? I don't know what that is. So I say, welcome to the team. So here we have Beep, who is a hive drone. As you can see, sort of a pencil eraser type head with that like weird dorsal fin. And the first act I'm going to do is give Beep my coveted Nodachi. Because that would be a particularly good weapon for Beep, as he wants to use big weapons. In fact, look at my little Beep now. He has a staff and Nodachi. I'm treating him well. I'm even going to give him my armor, because the Queen's Guard protects the Queen. Now, there are some bars in the city that I might be able to recruit some other hive people. So, like this Shinobi Guard right now, as you can see, well, he has a particularly strange mask on, but he is a hive prince. This guy is a Shek, but you can't really see that he's a Shek because he's wearing a helmet. And what I'm going to do is sell all the stuff I don't need. So I guess I can wear the heart protector, but I'm going to sell the iron stick, sell the staff, sell my repair kit because I am now organic, and consider that good. There was no one else to recruit there, so I'm going to move on. There's another bar right next door. When you live in the middle of the Fog Islands, you need a lot of alcohol to stay happy. So here's Hanbu. He is a hive soldier drone, and he should be recruitable. So let's go ahead and get him recruited. And he's asking for 5,000 cats, and I'm going to pay it. Hanbu is going to get a name here, a custom name. So as you can see, the subrace, the race is hive, the subrace is the drone, soldier drone. They're sort of genderless, but in honesty, they're all male. All hives are male except for the queens. And they have bonuses to attack and toughness. They make good soldiers, but they make terrible everything else. So as you can see here, unlike the other hive, their limbs are a little bit tougher. Their head is particularly tough. But hives, famously, these soldiers cannot use helmets. So they have tough heads, but they can't actually protect it. Which means they are vulnerable to being like one-shot by really high damaging headshots. The way this game works is armor mitigates damage that you take. But yeah, it's totally possible to get one shot to the head. And that would be, let's call it bad. That would be bad. So here we are at yet another little town. There's an outlaw here who doesn't want to talk to me. And that's Crumble John. He's a unique character, but I'm not recruiting humans. And there's a crazy soldier drone here that isn't going to talk to me either. So I think we've basically exhausted the potential recruits. Oh yeah, see the crazy drone, soldier drone is already taunting me a bit. Screaming "Ree!" which is the noise that the fog make when they're trying to eat people. So he's, I guess, joking, I hope, that he's a fog. I don't know. So now I have weapons for Ron and Beep. What I'm going to do is buy a weapon for Queen. I don't want her meleeing, because she is our title character. I don't want her endangered. So I'm going to buy a toothpick crossbow. It's very, very expensive, so it's basically going to bankrupt me. But that's okay. I can make money other ways now that I have a few more people. And then I want to get the hell out of this godforsaken area. So I'm going to start running on the road to leave Mongrel. There's not much else for me to do here. So my next thing I'm going to do is to look for other hivers to recruit. You can't really start a hive with 3. I'm going to need a little bit more than that. Now, I did say I'm only going to get up to about 10 combat characters. The game allows you to have as many as you want, up to about 30. Generally speaking, squads can go up to 20 size in vanilla Kenshi, meaning that you can have 20 combat characters at once. I found in my last playthrough that 20 was sort of an excessive number, and it made the game easier than it needed to be. So I'm going to lower that number down to 10, and I expect that I'm going to get losses and deaths out of it, but that's sort of the point. So here is what you typically find in the Fog Islands is a swarm of fog. They all run at about 19 miles an hour, which is just enough to chase Ron down and do him some damage. So I'm going to take control of all my characters and tell them to book it. I need to get out of this fog fast. Unfortunately for Ron, they can technically catch up with him. So what I'm going to hope that happens is that they don't catch up with me. Now, the more I run, the faster I become. So at some point, Ron will be able to outrun the fog. Beep here is going the wrong way. But that's okay. I can correct that. All right, let's go ahead and run. I really want to be going south, so let's queue them up to run south. Now, Queen is really much faster than the other two because she's been running around the continent already a bit. And she has a speed of 21. Which means the fog won't catch her as long as I'm careful about the orders I give her. She has taken a hit to her stomach, but I patched that up before they can catch me. And let's just keep running. When you're low level, running is like a full-time job. Until I get to a safe zone where I can fight and lose and not be eaten, I need to basically just run from everything. So Ron here is getting beat up pretty bad. But as long as he doesn't take leg damage, critical leg damage, his speed won't decrease too much. But it looks like Beep just took a beating. Yeah, Beep's just been captured. And they're no longer, I believe, no longer pursuing Ron and... Oh, no, they are. They are still pursuing Ron. But I'm going to have Queen try to aggro the one capturing Beep and get Beep back. It's pretty strange for the fog to be chasing me this far outside of the zone. So because Queen is faster than all these other fog, she can definitely run and kite. But Ron here is going to have to stand and fight. He just took leg damage and therefore cannot outrun them any longer. This is not a good start to a hive, but I'm up for the challenge. So Beep here is in a recovery coma. His stomach's been pretty badly damaged. Now, one thing I might be able to do once I get close enough to this fog is to aggro them to get them to attack me. Come on, Queen, you can do it. Alright, so as you can see here, the fog that's holding Beep is now chasing Queen. And I'm going to slow down time a little. Ron just regained consciousness because a Holy Nation outlaw came by and started killing the fog that was abducting me. That's pretty cool. That's fortuitous. Luck, pluck, and a whole lot of micromanagement. Alright, so now the fog that's carrying Beep is whittled down to just the one. Ron right now is repairing himself, or healing himself, I should say. So what I'm going to try to do is take pot shots. Oh, there we go. I just hit the abductor in the arm. Now this is a bit of a game of chicken. It's really challenging to get Beep back without really risking Queen all that much. Ron used up the last of his medkit, which is fine. We are also right at the edge of the Fog Islands, so as time progresses, I go deeper into enemy territory, making it harder to recover Beep. But I'm not going to let him down. He entrusted me to protect him from all the people that chase him, so protect him I shall try. Now, if it can piss off the one trying to capture Beep, the one capturing Beep is currently bleeding, so eventually their arm is going to fail them and they're going to have to put Beep down, because I did shoot the arm. And anytime this fog tries to leave with Beep and abscond with him, I will attempt to shoot the guy back. Ron, I'm going to have rendezvous with the Queen. Queen's guard should not stray too far. Alright, come on. Do a little shooting. Okay, she missed. That's alright. I got the attention of this fog. A little bit more shooting. Ooh, nice. Good hit. Into the chest. When they get hit, they stagger back, and it allows me to take another shot. Oh, boom! Boom goes the dynamite. The fog is down, and Beep is in a recovery coma, but being healed by Queen. Queen would never let Beep down. I'm going to pick Beep up. We are not actually in the Fog Islands anymore. We are outside of the edge of the Fog Islands, meaning that I should not encounter so many fog patrols this far outside. It should be a little bit more quiet. Looks like there's a Holy Nation outlaw that just bit the bullet here. What I'm going to do is heal them, because a Holy Nation outlaw did save Ron's life, and I don't like the Holy Nation anyway, so I won't mind saving one of theirs. So you're welcome, dude. I don't have any splints, but you're better off than you were before I got to you. Oh man, what an episode so far. Perilous dangers. Okay, so the issue right now is I've got some more fogs on me, and Queen is not going to be able to help Beep if she gets knocked unconscious. So she is going to try to bait lure them away with her superior speed. Beep is not going to regain consciousness just yet. He is still in a recovery coma. So once you're in the negative numbers, it's a roll for toughness. So for instance, if we take a look at Beep here, he's got a toughness, what is his stats? He's got a toughness of 5. So at about -5, he's going to recover from his coma. Oh, you know what I could do? Oh, the fog have already left me. I was hoping to bring the fog into the hungry bandits and get them to fight one another so that I get left alone. But I ditched the fog. We are not particularly in a safe zone, as you could imagine. And I'm not really paying attention to Ron all that much either, which I should be. What I really need to do is get them all back together. Okay, so they're trying to mug me of my food. So they're not going to eat Beep. They're bandits, not cannibals. So I can put Beep down for now. And go back for him, because Beep didn't have any food on him. And they're not going to be interested for any in him. People don't eat hivers normally, unless you're a cannibal. Alright, so Queen is 14 speed, and as is Ron. They are the same speed, but yet Queen is holding Beep. Now, crossing into Vane is probably a very bad idea, so I'm going to start heading east. The reason crossing into Vane is a bad idea is there are some really nasty animals in Vane that would make quick snacks out of me. So I gotta keep my eyes open. They look like giraffes, by the way. And Vane is notorious for having a lot of them. And they're really, really fast. Very difficult to outrun. You can out-micro them on a good day, though. It is possible. If you can't outrun them. So what I'm really looking to do is to get somewhere nice and safe where I'm not going to be in immediate danger of being consumed by enemies. This little merry band of misfits needs to get to a much safer zone. As you can see, there's hungry bandits roaming right there. They just killed a group of fog. I am near a hive village. Now, the hive villages aren't going to be nice to me, but I can seek refuge anyway. So one of my jobs, such as it is, in this series is to recruit animals, right? I think what I'm going to do is recruit this little bone dog pup. This little bone dog pup, I guess, needs a name. So the regular pawns that you have can very easily be renamed at a plastic surgeon. But animals cannot. Animals, once you name them, they're sort of stuck with that name, and they don't really easily get renamed. So the thing is, if I want a bone dog pup, I really have to decide, like, what name are they going to have, and that name is going to be somewhat permanent. And I'm trying to figure out a good name for said pup. I think what I'm going to do is name this pup. Ooh, I have to figure out maybe a patron of mine, so I apologize for the delay. Just need to find an appropriate one. Or I could name it after my own dogs. I do have my own dogs, but I would be very upset if I named this pup after one of my own dogs and then that dog died. That'd be upsetting to me. I think it would be upsetting to everyone. I'm going to name you Thorns. Bone dog pups have kind of a bony face. I think that's a nice name. So one cool thing about the pups here is that when they level up, they get progressively more strong. So if I invest a lot in athletics now, it will pay off in the long run by this little bone dog pup. Actually, was it a her? What are you? I think you were female. Oh boy, I should know. I'll just review the tape, because I'm aiming to get one of each gender, kind of like Noah's Ark. So this is a Western hive. They are not going to trade with me at all. They just won't. I'm hiveless to them. I'm actually sort of curious because in vanilla Kenshi, you aren't supposed to have fog queens. Yeah, welcome, no hive. Oh no, they will trade with me. I think that's because of the mod. I think I'm not flagged, whereas they would not trade with Beep or Ron. Okay, I don't know why you're calling me human. I'm clearly not. What they have here is some pretty shoddy clothing and the like. That clothing would go on Ron here. I think I can buy some of the shoddy stuff and put it on Ron. Buy it and give it to Ron anyway. It's interesting that I'm able to trade with them. So if you look, this is the sort of stuff that the Fog manufacture. They manufacture hive clothing, stuff that hivers can wear, and they don't so much manufacture anything else. I think I'm actually going to buy this as well. That basically bankrupts me, but that will make Ron somewhat tankier, which might be worth it. Alright, so let's give Ron the new clothing. Of course, the quality of this clothing is absolutely horrid. But you know what? It doesn't really matter. Any little bonus... Oh, now it's yelling for me to get out. Because I think Ron got too close. Okay, so here is some beak things. They are the animals that I said are really, really nasty. They look like giraffes, but trust me, you don't want to mess with them, especially when you're low level. They would eat me alive. Very much eat me alive. Alright, I can put Beep down. Beep now can stand on his own too, because his stomach has recovered, and he's conscious. I'm going to trade Beep's really shoddy pants to them. And then if we take a close look at Ron here, as you can see, he is very clearly better geared than he was before. You can see the shirt and the heart protector. And in fact, I think the mercenary armor is even better, so I'm going to give it to Ron. The soldier needs a soldier's armor. So the slowest mover here by far is going to be Thorns. Thorns is a little baby pup and does not walk very fast. I'm really hoping that I can thread the needle and not get eaten by beak things, but that all is going to be for next episode, because I'm just about out of time. So just to recap some of the things I mentioned here, if you have suggestions for changes in goals or rules, drop me a comment. If you're a patron of mine and you would like characters to be named after you, you gotta let me know, because I'm totally open for all of these characters to be renamed, other than the unique ones like Beep or Queen. And if you have any feedback of any other sort, like mods I should be aware of, yeah, just let me know. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope that you tune in next time. Adios.